What's up? Why are you in my car? All right,
I don't know why I'm driving. How do I do that?
I'm gonna stay. Dude. Oh my God! Kill everyone.
There we go.
We're gonna start fresh. We're gonna just destroy everybody here.
All right, there we go.
Where did I go? Oh, here we go. Okay, so all the cops just disappear. Well, here we are. We're kind of in the factory area of GTA. I don't really spend a lot of time out here.
Yeah. Let's shoot things up. Oh, you started a gang attack.
Oh my God! What the frick?
I'm not in your gang, dude. So you're an enemy.
That's weird.
Just so you know.
All right. Well,
there's an X on you.
What's going on, Dino?
Not much. Just recovering from an explosion that caused a hole in the space and time and created a corruption disruption.
I don't remember that much, but I mean, yeah.
I don't remember it going down that route, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw that, okay. Maybe maybe you were on something I wasn't on.
Yeah, my face.
I've always enjoyed reading and like books and stuff like that.
Yeah, reading Rainbow.
And recently I've just been kind of catching up again on reading and I just kind of want to talk about that and some of your experiences in like reading books and what do you think about it as well. I'll kind of share something that I'm reading right now. I due to the anime Psychopaths, where they have a lot of literature that gets quoted, I'm actually reading. I'm starting to read When Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and I didn't know this, but kind of looking into the book and its history and its writer, I didn't know that this was actually like a precursor to Blade Runner. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah. And,
so like this is where
I'm not too deep
Blade
into
Runner
it,
got
so
its
I haven't really
inspiration?
found the similarities between what?
This is where like Blade Runner got its inspiration?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like well, from what I understand, it's kind of like the outline to Blade Runner. Whoa, man, really? Let me get in. Oh, okay. I'll get in.
Got you.
And I really haven't found the similarities quite yet because I just started the book, but I wasn't reading it for that reason, but it is kind of nice. Oh my God, it's gonna blow up. It's kind of nice because the second movie's coming out. And it'll kind of give some insight as to like where maybe the direction that they're taking it. I'm not really sure.
I haven't seen Blade Runner, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I wouldn't say I recommend it, but it's a bit of a long movie. Anyways,
I mean, I'm a fan of class. Like, if it's something that was like ahead of its time at the moment, and okay, then yeah, I need to watch it. Like, I'm okay. I mean, I got the traditional Planet of the Apes movie on Blu-ray because it was on sale, and I'm excited to start that again. Because I didn't know there was a fifth one until I realized I didn't finish the collection when I watched it the first time. But yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, did you read the books for that? Or no?
There's books?
For the Planet of the Apes?
There's books?
Thought there was.
No, I did not. Did not know there was books.
Yeah. Wait, did you know Narnia was a book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you know Harry Potter was a book?
No, dude, it's only a film that turned into a book.
So I was also taking a Lyft ride, man, somewhere. I was also
Blade Runner.
Kind of instructed to go read Dune, which I know is an older movie. I knew it as a movie. I did not know it as a book.
I've been told by a lot of people I need to read Dune.
Dune, yes.
Yeah.
And I know that's another movie that's also, well, it's been in the works supposedly to be remade. I'm not sure how far along or even where it's at.
Dune's a whole crazy like franchise and series and universe. Like the size of Halo is Dune's bigger. Because I was gonna buy the first book.
Well, be careful with that because Halo's pretty big. Yeah.
I know, and Dune's pretty large too. But someone told me that I need to read the first book, and they're like it's big, but it's well worth it. And then they're telling me about the rest of the series. I'm like, I don't know where I need to start.
Fuck you, Benzi!
Well, just like any other book, that's the thing about it. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about, like with like how I start books and just books in general, like what they mean to you, how they've affected your life.
Yeah.
And
so
I know that whenever I started reading a book, like I'm the kind of reader that really dives into the story, and I imagine a lot of everything that is going in there.
Yeah.
So much so that like my head is spinning with the story.
With imagination.
Imagination, yeah. I can't get rid of it, and I'm just kind of like, you know, in that world, and I'm constantly thinking about it, constantly thinking about the characters. And unlike a movie, books have a way of allowing me to connect. Like I just feel really connected to the characters that I'm reading about, you know.
Yeah.
And prior to starting to read When Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, I'm still reading The Passage, which I don't recommend anybody to read 2 books at once, because
that's challenging.
Yeah, it's I was just interested in the other one, and I started reading it, and it's a very interesting read, and so I've been kind of pulled away from The Passage, which is what I was reading. But now I'm kind of left in the middle of that book, so I have to go back and finish that, and leave the other one for later. But I mean, what are some books that I remember? So my first book that it kind of impacted my life in terms of reading, which was a very simple book, but kind of sad for like a children's book. It was called the Wheel on the School.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of that book, but
I have not.
But it was about like an old wheel, I guess, that had like a stork living in it.
Yeah.
And there was a story about these kids, and it was just such an interesting read. But for some reason, it didn't feel like a children's book when I read it. It felt like an adult book, you know. And it had like, you know, each kid had like a relationship in terms of like friendships or whatever, you know, between each other, and it was one of my first actual like chapter books that I read, and man, I remember that book just kind of sprung reading and chapter books onto like in a big picture for me. I really wanted to continue, and that's how I started getting into like Harry Potter later on, and you know, other books that I've read. But like, what's like, how do you even like reading? Do you read still?
Interesting enough, I hated reading as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, it was not like I was a numbers guy. I liked math. But I have noticed that I do need to get back into reading, and I have a mini library of books that I one day want to like get to actually read. I'm talking about like Charles Darwin.
I'm in jail, by the way.
You're in jail?
Yeah, I'm in the back. Well, no, I'm in the back of your car.
Oh, I was like, what?
Officer, why are you glowing?
'Cause it's time to party! Woo! Let's go.
So you want to get into reading?
Yeah, I've been trying, and I actually started with I Am Legend. I was reading that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's it's a combo, because the author for that also wrote what the hell is it called? The House on the Hill. That movie. Did you ever watch that?
No, I don't think so.
It was like it was an interesting movie. I can't really remember it, to be honest.
What was it about? Was it a horror movie?
It was a horror movie, and but it's a combo. So the first half of the book is I Am Legend, and then once it's done, the second half is House on the Hill. But I don't think it's called that. The House on the Hill movie was inspired by this book. That's why I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's why I kind of got it. House on Haunted Hill.
That's not that movie with a girl that like the hill.
House on Haunted Hill.
The house is like alive, and like there's like a spirit within the house.
Yeah.
And it has the actor from Taken in it. It's not that movie.
No. Is it, you think the one that has Owen Wilson?
Huh?
Where he goes, wow. Anyway, the House on. So I started reading it. I actually liked I Am Legend. It just I just kind of got busy, but I plan on finishing it.
Technical difficulties.
maybe a fifth of it through.
I'm gonna go ahead and
but my issue
have
is
to cut this out, Dino.
If I don't have the book on me, I won't read it. Shit. That
all right,
was,
and no worries. Everything good. Everything's good. So we had a bit of a technical difficulty, but we're all set. Anyway, so we were talking about books.
Yes, and I was reading I Am Legend, and I get about halfway through it. And my issue with books, I like having an actual solid object like a book in my hand than the digital ones. But the issue is if I don't have it with me, I'm not gonna read it.
Yeah, actually, I got it. Well, that's something that was part of the same conversation. Was that I actually got a Nook for my birthday about a couple years ago, and I actually really like it. It's the rugged one, so you can like take it in with you to the shower if that's your thing. You can go in the pool.
Read and bathe. You got it, man.
Yeah, you can read and bathe. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, some people like to do that. Whatever.
Yeah. Little bath salts.
Get some education or get some literature with a little wine next to you, and, some cheeses.
Yeah, wine. Make this a whole fucking experience. Everything just disappeared in front of me.
Whoa, glitch.
That was a weird glitch.
Hey, look at this. What is this?
Fuck!
My screen's a slurry in a hurry.
Damn it!
I want to try a slurry.
I do, like I was saying before, I don't know where the malfunctions came, but I was saying I want to get into reading. Like as I'm getting older, I realize like I really wish I took advantage of it. But now I'm old enough where I can buy my own books, so I have a lot of like really advanced reading that at the moment I could never read it. Like I don't see myself reading or even grasping what's being told to me. So it's a training thing I have to do. I have to train for it.
That's the beauty of books, though, is that you don't like. If you don't know something in a book, you can go look it up, and you can take.
Yeah. For me, it's like I have to first find a way to make sure I keep that habit of reading.
Yeah, I think, and I know that. To be honest, I do agree with the notion that books, actual like books in the hand, is a much more comfortable and a much more almost. I don't know. There's something about a book, okay, that it just feels good in your hands, and I actually do enjoy reading on my Nook only because I can store multiple.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the conveniency and the idea of a Nook. I personally love that. Like when I'm holding something, it's this one subject, and it's delicate. I can't mistreat the book because it won't last. And there's been plenty of. I think out of all the books that I've read, the only ones that I've like read to the point where the pages fall out are strategy guides and games.
And those were what kind of books were those?
Strategy guides, like.
Oh, you said strategy guides?
Those are the.
I thought you called it a strategy.
The fuck was that? Yeah. No, it's just like, just be like, I got to take care of my book. Oh, I died again. That was Shallow Waters.
Well, from my experience, honestly, I really the Nook is convenient, and it's allowed me to actually catch up on reading in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It took me a little getting used to be honest, but once I got used to it, and like I can read more with that than I can with, because one thing about a book is that like I don't like ruining my books, so normally I don't want to take them with me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to put them in my bag and then like crush or like some liquid falls on it or something sticky goes on it or like
ew,
something gets a little weird.
Grody, man, grody. I feel you though.
So I'd rather just not take the book and take the book.
But you don't want people to be like, wow, look at the book he's reading. And it's like the size of a dictionary. That's the dictionary.
You know what? Maybe, I thought about that before. Like, people won't really see the sophistication of it, I guess, if you want to look sophisticated.
But then it'll get
It's not really for them. It's for me.
But then if you go for that approach, it'd just be like, you're just that guy.
Right, yeah, exactly. if that's the only reason why you're reading.
I mean, don't judge me.
I wasn't. God, I suck at flying today.
Yeah, you do. So I jumped.
You weren't even in my
That's why I jumped out. That's why I let you fly alone, because I was like...
You were not in my helicopter.
I was like, if I go in there, he's going to get me killed. That guy always gets me killed. I have nothing to do with it either.
And so another thing about that's kind of something I've been also doing is like reading in Spanish as well.
Yeah.
So I can keep up on it because
you lose it.
Well, there's a lot of words that I don't remember, so reading is a very good way to like keep up on a language that you don't necessarily use all day or use all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Because I mean, there's a normal, here pick this up, take this out, grab this, let's go, kind of talk, and then there's a conversation, and I noticed that with some of my family, like I've had a tough time holding the conversation, especially since I don't practice it a lot.
Yeah.
Because there's words that I don't remember, and normally it's okay, especially with my family that lives here in the States, but my family that lives elsewhere, I can't use English.
Yeah.
Like if I say something in English, they don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they'll look at you like, what?
So it doesn't help. So I need the word.
Yeah.
So that's something that I started reading. I picked up the book, the book The Road, which I had read already. Really good book, by the way. They made a movie out of that as well.
The Road?
The Road, yeah. It's on Netflix, I believe. And I recommend it if you have the time to go watch it, man. Really good movie.
Yeah.
And but the book is actually really good as well, and it's pretty close. The actual movie and the book are actually pretty close. It's close to its original source. But I'm reading it in Spanish. It's called La Carretera.
Yeah.
Which is the road.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. But it's interesting because the book itself kind of reads a little differently, and as a matter of fact, I feel like the book is way more emotional in Spanish.
Really? Just translates better?
I didn't expect that, actually. I didn't expect it to be any different at all.
Just translates better?
So when that happened, I was actually really kind of surprised about it.
That's interesting. I noticed that though, like some things translate better, or just don't translate better in English.
Just with the reading and everything, I have to say that in Spanish, the book is much more emotional, and I feel like it's interesting because again, when it comes to reading, I haven't really I started reading in Spanish when I was a kid, and then eventually moved on to English.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it kind of brought into mind like the differences between like reading in different languages. Like I would love to be able to experience another language and read another language.
Yeah.
Because you really get to understand the culture of and how that culture is, especially with the way they talk and the way they express themselves,
Yeah.
And like certain sentences, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the character saying this, but he said it in such a way that in Spanish, I feel like it's almost more heavy. Like it's much heavier impacted in a story.
It's more of a serious moment.
And there's just more impact to the words that he's saying. And it's just it's almost like a novella. You know what I mean? Like where.
One thing they got down is novellas.
Yeah. I mean, they're so ridiculously emotional in those. Like they get out of hand.
Oh,
I think, but just for people who think that that's actually how Hispanics are for some reason, that's not true. That's just an exaggerated, and we also make fun of it as well.
It's almost like a run-on joke.
But that's part of the reason why they like it, because it's just so.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like if it's not like that, then it's not. It's like, what are you doing? You're ruining the joke, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, a lot of these are not joke. They're just interesting because they're so dramatic.
Yeah.
But same with books. I guess it translates the same way in books, where like it's a little more dramatic in Spanish, at least for me. I feel. Now, what I don't know, Dino. Did you say you had a book that was for your favorite?
My first book that I ever completed in like junior high. I remember you asked me that, like the first book, and it was Eyes of a Killer Robot. Was my first book. Then I started.
Eyes of a Killer Robot.
Then I started reading all of Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events.
Oh yeah.
And then that was just. Then I stopped reading for a while, but now I want to get into it.
Did you ever read no, I was forced to read this at school, but I actually did enjoy it. The book Fahrenheit 451.
Oh yeah.
That book is actually one of my favorite all-time books, even though I was forced to read it and I hated it at the time.
Really?
When I finished, once I actually finished the book, I actually thought it was one of the best books I've ever read.
It was definitely a great concept for an apocalypse that's pretty much possible for today.
Well, no, it wasn't an apocalypse. It was a dystopian future.
I see it as an apocalyptic future.
No, it was a dystopia. It's called dystopia.
Whatever.
Whatever
the fuck it's called, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a dystopian future where, and you know what? I kind of want to ruin it. Like, it's been out for a while, so spoilers.
Well, you can ruin Fahrenheit 451. I mean, if anything, you'll be praised for all the kids that have to still read it in high school. So we're like, oh, thank God, I don't have to fucking read this book anymore. Mecha told us about it.
That book was about a fireman who firemen in that world don't stand for people who put out fires, but in fact start fires due to books being in your home or being in your vicinity, and they don't want to look around, so they'd rather just burn the place down if they find books in your home, or you're kind of keeping them. And that goes for any book. And the burning what it takes for kerosene to light up, like the amount of heat it takes, is 451 Fahrenheit.
Yep.
And so that's why it's called Fahrenheit 451, because that's the heat at which kerosene burns, which is what they use to burn the homes down and stuff like that. And it's actually kind of a weird and sad book, because they go into depicting what a future would be like if everything was virtual reality, because it is in that world. Like, people, if you're lonely, you can speak to fake characters and
you can speak to waifus.
I guess
you can speak to waifus.
Yeah, yeah, and essentially you can be in your own novella, and you can be in your own movie and your own TV show, and you're a character, and they talk to you. And people get lost in all that, and so it follows this fireman that eventually he finds books, and there's this lady that really impacts him, that she would rather burn with her home and her books than to let her books burn and let them pull her away.
Yeah.
And that really affected the fireman, and he started looking into books and finding out why they were so important. Why would somebody die to protect them?
Yeah.
You know? So I really like that book, just because it's not only a story, it's also about the ideal that books. I mean, there have been societies, and we know this as well. I think in the Nazi Germany, they also burned books there, and books that they didn't want people to read.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. That's a future that kind of depicts something that could actually and has happened in our past. You know, so it's interesting. You know, the power of books, man. They don't want people with books. From books, people can get ideas. People can build on their own.
An idea is bulletproof.
They can build their own ideas. Yeah.
That's from a movie that turned into a book.
I wonder why they've never made a movie of 450.
Because they just turned on the History Channel.
Turned on the History Channel? Is that
That's why.
I didn't know that.
There's your answer. Well, guys, if you want to know the rest of 451, you got to go read it yourself. And what Mecha gave you is probably a solid C, so earn for more. Read the rest.
If you guys like what you hear, what you like.
No, I got another thing. What book is everyone else's favorite? Boom.
Yeah, give me a suggestion. I would love a suggestion, and I'll read it, and I'll give you guys
something within reason.
Why? No, I'll read it.
If someone suggests you the dictionary, you read the dictionary.
I mean, I said interest.
What if it's an interesting dictionary?
What is an interesting?
It's just what if it's just all words that are. I don't know where I'm going at with this.
That's not a dictionary then.
Whatever. I'll give you a thesaurus.
Well, obviously, if you tell me the dictionary, I mean, whatever.
It's like, you tell me the dictionary, I'm not going to listen to you, but okay.
Yeah. But if you want to suggest something real, yeah, I'll definitely give it a whirl. And
yeah. All right,
guys.
Peace.
Well, since you interrupted my outro, I'll go ahead and let you do it now.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Broken Play, and we will see you guys tomorrow.